ramping up to something as big as X-Men from, let's face it, even Kick-Ass was a relatively small film.
Yeah, and
Roth.
then what happens is the studios get into. I think that to your point, I think Shane Black, to your point, is an excellent choice in terms of what he could deliver. I also loved Iron Man. I thought Favreau did an incredible job with a movie that I had zero interest in, and then I loved it. The problems with Iron Man 2, I think, are the problems that could happen in Iron Man 3, and especially with a director that has gone this long without directing, is that there becomes too many cooks in the kitchen, too many characters, too many outside goals other than story, and that's what could hurt the movie no matter who's directing it. But yeah, certainly they can take a little more advantage of that with a less experienced director.
So,
well, I mean, it's not like he's been pumping a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Because I mean, if you look at his IMDb, he's directed about let's see, 5 or 6 shorts, video documentaries, and a documentary, and acted in something else called acted in Monkeys. So I mean, like he's been somewhere around a video camera in the last 5 years. So I think that, you know, and if it's a great script and, you know, it's got the talent behind it, I don't think it takes Scorsese to make a good Iron Man 3 movie. So I think
some would argue Scorsese would be the wrong guy to do Iron Man 3.
I'm just saying.
I just want to see the Iron Man that's shot on the video camera that Johnny just.
He's been somewhere around a camera, film or video. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's move on to the last topic here before we get into our for your considerations. It's being reported that, well, I mean, unfortunately, a little part of me died a little while ago when they announced that they were probably going to be doing a Highlander remake. Highlander, the original Highlander with Christopher Lambert, is in my top 10 movies of all time list. Let me specify my top 10 favorite movies of all time list. I love that film. Now
enough to jizz on it?
Not quite enough to jizz on it.
Enough to mime jizz on it?
But they're talking about, and I mean, I got to be consistent with myself.
No.
Highlander fits my personal criteria for remakes. And so, you know, I hate the idea of them doing it, but I can see why they're doing it, and I'm just going to try to hold my tongue and wait and see. Now, there's some talk that is also making me die.
By the way, can you hate that they're doing it and hold your tongue at the same time? Because I feel like the first is a direct contradiction to the second.
Melissa Rosenberg. Apparently, of the woman who took the books, the Twilight books, and penned them into a screenplay, is apparently in talks to write the script for the Highlander remake.
Well, maybe not be writing it, because there's a script that was written, so she might be doing some work on it.
Punch-ups.
Or she might be completely reworking it.
If I am not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, I believe that early draft that was floating around about 6 months ago was trashed.
Oh.
I think they dumped the thing altogether. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of another film.
Well, then get ready for vampires.
The Highlanders got a whole
The reason the Highlanders live forever? They're vampires.
And they tinkle.
They tinkle?
They
don't
tinkle?
Sparkle.
Oh, they tinkle. Okay.
I don't know what that means. I guess they piss a little bit. I don't know. That went nowhere.
Look,
Tinkle? Yeah, I guess I could.
I'm one of those people who I firmly believe in not pigeonholing an artist. Just because somebody wrote a sci-fi action adventure does not mean they're not capable of writing a romantic comedy. Just because somebody has done teen angst vampires doesn't
contributed to the death of
Comic-Con does not mean that they're not capable of writing like a sci-fi fantasy thing like Highlander. So I'm not trying to pigeonhole her, but just on its surface, it does make me a little bit nervous. I mean, I haven't seen enough of her work to really have a full grasp of what she's capable of. So just on that basis alone, I feel nervous. But you know, I haven't seen her suck at anything. Dennis,
I'm not too worried, only because for the Twilight movies, the weakness of them is the original source material. And so if she's adapting it, there's nothing much she can do. She has to put in certain elements into the movie.
Is this the pizza argument where like the ingredients are there? I
actually totally agree with that. I'm not saying that the source material was particularly strong, but what I'm saying is like when she adapted the Twilight book, the first movie made very little sense. In a lot of ways, like that was one of the things about the movies that actually struck me. Like him walking down the hall, nothing, totally unrelated. I love you. Like out of nowhere, you know, they would just pop in and out of conversations and dialogues with no context. It wasn't a great adaptation, and there were things that you could have done to make it better. In
Well,
my
I
mind.
didn't read the book, so
I'm not saying on camera that I did either. I'm just
Off
saying
camera.
I know.
I
But
sleep
what
with
I'm
them under
saying
my-
is, sometimes if you have a source material, it's that bad. There's only so
Wait,
much. you
wait
can
a minute, wait a minute. If you have a source material that's that bad, I didn't read the book. Isn't that like?
But the story, the
How do
story
you
is
know?
the same, though. The story is the same.
But how would you know how bad or good the source material is if you never read it? I'm not saying it's good, FYI, commenters.
Look, I've never been embarrassed to say what I don't like or what I like, because of popular sentiment. I'm one of those guys that I didn't mind the Twilight movie. I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind the first one.
He's also
I didn't mind the
married
first
I didn't mind the first
to a
one. I didn't
woman
like the
that
second one.
really enjoys it.
Yeah, well, you can talk to her, and she'll tell you I don't always go along with things that she likes, Kobe Bryant. Anyway,
I think, the Highlander is a bit supernatural a theme, is it not?
Yes.
And clearly she's got some experience with the supernatural. So, I think that it's clearly something that's possible that she can pull off. And plus, I don't believe that they're going to be targeting a demographic that's intimately familiar with the source material. So I think that the movie itself has a great chance of succeeding.
well, here's hoping. Let's move on.
Or
here.
at
Let's
least
go up
being
to this
slightly
last
better than I Am number 4 or I Am 4, whatever it is.
I'm number 4 is a fun movie, but we'll get to that. There are those at this table who disagree. Let's move on. Let's wrap things up here with the For Your Consideration. This is the segment of the show where each of us brings up a topic. We have not talked about this in advance with each other. Just throws out a concept, idea, theory, fact, and then we all give our quick reactions to it. This week we're going to start with Dennis, and we'll go around the table clockwise. So, Dennis, what is your thing for today?
For your consideration, Thor will actually be the best comic book movie of the year. However, Captain America will make the most at the box office.
Roth.
For your consideration.
Oh, wait, we have to respond to him.
No, you got to respond. Your reactions.
my reactions.
For your consideration, Dennis is an ignorant slut.
Douglas, you're an ignorant. I love that you use that reference. I think that Thor will actually, yes, I think it's going to be the best. It has the best team, so I agree.
It looks like it's going to be a really fun movie. I don't see it getting lost. I think it's unique enough in its comic bookiness to make some decent cash. I don't think it'll make the most cash, but I think, it has a solid chance of being the best comic book film.
But what do you think about Captain America making the most money out of all of them?
I have less confidence in. I agree with the first half of your statement more. I don't know. Captain America could be over the top, and it could be sunk by word of mouth. So it depends.
I actually think Captain America will probably end up being the best comic book adaptation movie, and I think you got to be a little bit crazy if you don't think X-Men First Class is going to make the most money. It has too much, even with crappy films. That X-Men franchise makes ridiculous amounts of cash. So it'll be interesting. Captain America's got a huge following too, but I'll be the dissenter on that. I think it's going to be that.
I thought you just said it was going to be the best. Did you say
I
money
think
too?
Thor was going to be the best, and Captain America was going to make the most money.
And I said Captain America will be the best as opposed to the most money.
This is
and
what
that
happens when you drink
X-Men First
before the
Class
podcast, Jay.
will make the most money. Anyway, Roth, what is your issue today?
For your consideration, Proust. No, for your consideration, and I'm going to be actually, I don't even know if I want to do, I'm going to be writing a whole thing on this. Manufacturing nostalgia. We do not feel as strongly about these properties as we say that we do. And it has a lot to do with marketing. More on that later.
Soul.
I completely agree with that statement. I think that when you look at a lot of the online communities and you watch their reaction to stuff like Highlander or something, and you look at the ages and demographics, you got to think, how do you possibly have this passionate, or the Green Hornet for that matter? How do you have this much passion or nostalgia for a property that you had little to no interaction with? And it's just because we want to be able to talk about things, we want to be able to comment and make fun and have these conversations, even if we're not that familiar. So I think that just the communication and the internet and the tools that we use make that sort of like pour gas on a small fire from time to time. So
I think nostalgia is still quite very, very powerful. The one of the examples is I just stood up and ejaculated on a table at the thought of The Hobbit, my favorite book as a child growing up. Also, the fact that I was just telling a story about how
that's quite reasonable, though.
I have been talking about fanatically about the Transformers for 5, 6, 7 years.
But I don't think that's what she was saying. I don't think she was saying that nostalgia...
Restate. Okay. Example. Today, there was an unleashing of rage online when Fox was a little bit late getting that trailer up. I think the level that people think that they're invested in things is overblown. I think it has a lot to do with how we market and the way that we communicate right now in terms of it's a very...
So not that nostalgia isn't valid or present, but just that there's a lot more of it than is actually like anchored in reality.
Yeah, I think that we project a lot of the level of the emotion, the level of the intensity seems a little projected above what it. I mean, like when people say it's huge news and it's not like the end of the 7-year war that's been going on.
Yeah,
that seems a little crazy to me. Although I love movies.
I think we get it. I think people really do get fanatical about this stuff. When I see what Twilight fans will do, when I see what Harry Potter fans will do, when I have lived out
but that's
what Star
Harry
Wars
Potter.
fans
We didn't talk. We're not talking about.
No, but anyway, Dennis.
I'm with you halfway with that in the sense of it's not just marketing. A lot of it has to do with the internet and how people are able to collect together. Patton Oswalt wrote an article for Wired magazine where he talks about how before it used to be like when you were into really geeky, nerdy things, it was just you and your friends and 2 friends or whatever. And now because the internet's around, everyone can get together and talk about these nerdy things, and then it's kind of like a cyclical nature.
Yeah.
Another example of this, not for movies, but like video games. People talk about these old-ass video games, and they still play some of them. And I don't know why anyone plays these old, like, Atari games or NES games, Like, you have the Xbox 360, the PS3.
I know you didn't diss Pac-Man.
So a lot of people, have that nostalgia in them just to play those old games to get that old feeling back as opposed to it actually being still fun.
Yeah, they have the nostalgia, but I think it's the level of the emotion and also the level of negativity.
That's the internet. That's the internet.
Okay, we got to keep moving. These things are supposed to be rapid fire. I'm changing my for your consideration. Actually, I had one. It was a pretty good one, but I'll save it until next week. Now, my for your consideration is well, I'm going to admit it comes from an outside source on this, but for your consideration, Cameron Diaz is now past the point in her career where she can play the hot, sexy woman. Dennis.
The hot, sexy woman. I mean, she's still an attractive woman, but I don't know if I would.
Can't she play that woman who walks on screen and it's believable that every guy in the office when she walks in goes,
no.
Okay.
No.
Roth.
I don't know.
You don't have a sexual attraction to Cameron Diaz on screen?
Like the women that I guess turn me on are like Angelina Jolie.
No, but is it believable if
Johansson.
in a scene, if Cameron Diaz walks in and every guy in the office drops their coffee, did you find that believable?
I don't know. I swear to God, I don't. Okay, I mean, because I never thought that about her.
I think she could maybe. I think in the right scene, she could maybe pull it off. This. Let me backpedal into my for you.
Got 30 seconds.
Olivia Wilde is single, using the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Somebody watching this podcast has a direct connection to Olivia Wilde. My Twitter is @TheJohnShow. Somebody pass this video to Olivia Wilde.
I want to apologize to Cleveland and the world for my general idiocy.
That is all the time that we have for this episode of For Your Consideration. Don't forget, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to the audio-only feed, you can also subscribe to this in iTunes. You can watch it on your Apple TV. We've got instructions that are floating around there somewhere where you can get that. Make sure, if you like the show, post it on your Facebook page. Like it if you're watching it on YouTube. Do whatever you can to spread this thing around. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank again Dennis Zen.
What's up, guys?
Roth.
I'm an idiot.
And The John Show.
I love Chuck Norris.
I like turtles.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And until next time, bye-bye.